Welcome to this recording of the PFAS MCL Rule Public Water Supplier and Operator Training. This recording will cover Lesson 5, Public Notification and Consumer Confidence Reports. Here's what we'll cover more specifically in this lesson. Public Notification Basics, PFAS-specific public notification, the public notification templates and instructions available, and consumer confidence report requirements as they relate to PFAS. So just starting with a little bit of background and the basics of public notification for all regulations, then we'll get into the details for PFAS. PN rule became effective in May of 2002. It was published in Chapter 109, August of 2002 that year. DEP revised the PN rule then in 2009, had a lot of information about direct contact with customers and that sort of thing. You can find the PN requirements in subchapter D of the Chapter 109 Safe Drinking Water Regulations. So the purpose of public notices is to provide notice to consumers when there's an immediate threat to public health. So an immediate risk, that's why it's shown here in red on the screen, or the public water system has failed to meet any drinking water standards. So remember, it might not be even as immediate of a need, but you do have to notify the public. And or the public water system has failed to conduct monitoring or report results as required. So those are put into 3 PN tiers, as shown here. There's a table in the associated workbook on the bottom of page 5.2 that summarizes the same information. So Tier 1 PN, or public notification, is used for acute threats to public health. So, for example, an E. coli MCL violation, that's Tier 1. Tier 2 is no immediate threat, but there is the potential for more chronic health effects as a result of long-term exposure. So this is where our PFAS MCL violations fall into, and we'll talk more about this in a moment. So longer-term health effects. And finally, Tier 3 PN is required if there is no direct impact to public health. For example, a monitoring or reporting violation requires Tier 3 public notification. So with PFAS, we're going to focus on Tier 2 and Tier 3 and not necessarily Tier 1 situations. So here are the deadlines for notifying DEP and for getting the notice to system customers based on the tiers. And again, I've put this in a yellowish box here because we're focused on Tier 2 and 3 for the PFAS MCL rule. So for Tier 2 situations, systems are required to contact DEP within 1 hour of being notified or being alerted of the situation. So remember, all MCL exceedances require notification to DEP within 1 hour. Public notification then should be issued as soon as possible, but no later than 30 days of learning of the violation. These are Tier 2 situations now. For Tier 3 situations, systems are required to contact DEP within 48 hours of learning of the violation, and the system has then up to 1 year to issue Tier 3 public notification. So many systems tie this in with the annual consumer confidence report if the timing works, and we'll discuss more of that. So this slide provides a quick review of PN delivery times and delivery methods, and it should be in your workbook as well. We're skipping over Tier 1 again since it doesn't really apply to PFAS. So for Tier 2 delivery, which again is within 30 days to the public, community water systems must deliver public notices directly to each service connection. So that can be accomplished through mail or email or snail mail kind of thing. Non-community water systems must post public notices in a conspicuous location for at least 7 days. That's non-community systems. So tier 3 then, for tier 3 violations, community water systems again deliver public notices directly to each service connection. Since it's tier 3 and you have up to 1 year here as shown, that you may be able to time that with the delivery of your consumer confidence report as well. Non-community systems again post the public notices in a conspicuous location for at least 7 days. Okay, so we're going to go now over 10 content requirements that are in all public notices. So public notice first must include a description of the violation or situation, along with the relevant contaminants and sample results if applicable. And the notice must also include the date the violation or situation occurred, must include the potential health effects associated with the contaminants. Next, the notice must identify the population that is at risk, as well as identifying any vulnerable subpopulations, such as immunocompromised populations of people. It must also inform consumers if they need to use an alternate source of supply, source of water. And it must also inform consumers what the water system is already doing or is doing to address the violation or issue, or what has already been done. And the notice must direct the consumers to take any specific actions if necessary, like boiling the water. Must also inform the customers when the system expects to have the issue resolved or when it was resolved. And the notice must include contact information for someone at the system that consumers can contact with any questions regarding the notice. And then finally, the public notice must include a statement that encourages consumers to distribute the notice further to others that may not have received it, such as people residing in apartments or nursing homes if they didn't get it directly then. Now, there's also formatting requirements for public notices, and the DEP Public Notification Handbook. It's a guidance document, and it's on the DEP website on the public notification page, and it's also in the DEP e-library. It's called the PN Handbook or Public Notification Handbook. And it outlines some formatting requirements as part of it. So the notice must use a font that is sized 10 points or larger. We don't want the text to be too small, so it's illegible or overlooked. The notice must be written in basic, easy to understand language that is not overly technical, so it can be understood by the average customer. Next, it must also be formatted in a manner that makes it effective as a notice. So just not getting too crazy with the layout so that it's difficult to read or anything. And the notice cannot include language that nullifies or contradicts the required language within the notice. So, for example, the water system should not include statements that indicate they don't agree that the water should be boiled, but you have to boil it anyway, sort of thing. And we're going to talk about this, but DEP has public notification templates. Again, they're on the PN website. We will talk in a minute about a template for PFAS. Still, along with the required elements of the notice, there are multilingual requirements. All notices must include a required Spanish statement that informs the reader. This report contains information about your drinking water. Have someone translate it for you or speak with someone who understands it, is what that Spanish statement essentially says there. Now, additionally, if a large population of the non-English speaking population you serve speaks a language other than Spanish, you have to provide information in that language as well. So there's more information in your workbook files about the large proportion definition and if it applies to your system. So after public notification is issued, systems are required to send to DEP within 10 days a copy of each PN notice issued and a certification that all the public notification requirements have been met. So there is a certification form template, and that again is on the PN website, DEP site, or our DEP library. Now that we've reviewed the public notification basics, let's look at PFAS specific public notification. So PFOS and PFOA MCL violations, they require Tier 2 public notification. Remember, more of a chronic health effects problem. So as we reviewed in just a moment ago there, Tier 2 PN, you should notify your customers as soon as possible, but no later than 30 days from when you become aware of the situation. And you have 1 hour to contact DEP as shown in the second column here. Now, you would repeat that public notification every 3 months as long as the violation persists. So if you're able to come out of the violation, then you would end the public notification. Otherwise, repeat it every 3 months. Now, DEP created Tier 2 public notification templates for one template for PFAS or PFOA MCL violations. Again, so here's the form number, but it can be found on the PN website and on the e-library. And here's some kind of screenshots of what it looks like. And this information is also in your book on 5-4 for later reference. So let's talk about Tier 3 public notification now. This is for failure to collect PFOA or PFAS samples during the compliance period, or failure to collect a confirmation sample after an MCL exceedance. Remember, you have to collect one if you're on annual or triennial and you have a PFAS MCL exceedance, you have to collect that confirmation sample. Well, if you don't, it's a Tier 3 monitoring violation. And we have templates available for Tier 3 situations as well, the failure to monitor. And those are available again on the e-library or the DEP PN website. All right, now let's shift a little bit to discussing consumer confidence reports or CCRs. All community systems are required to deliver a consumer confidence report to their customers every year by July 1st. You must also mail a paper copy of the CCR to DEP, unless in a lot of circumstances you can work out with the local office that you can email or send in an electronic version of it to your contact there. So the CCR has its own content requirements, and those 6 are listed here on the page: water system info, sources of water. There's a definitions section, a detected sample results table section, other violations, and educational information. So let's talk a moment about the detected sample results. So after initial monitoring, which might be 2024 or 25, depending on your size system, you will be summarizing the results of any detections in your CCR for PFAS. So this will be the first time you'll be doing this after initial monitoring, since PFAS is a new contaminant that you're monitoring for. There are several templates to help you out. There's the CCR certification form once you're to certify that it's been done that I mentioned, but there's also a completeness checklist for water suppliers. And then there's 2 templates, one for systems only using groundwater sources, and then there's a template for systems using any surface water sources. So those templates are slightly different, but available. Again, we have a CCR website that you can pretty easily just Google search that, and you'll find the DEP CCR information. So just to reiterate, a real good resource for all this is the DEP public notification webpage that you can, again, search for, get to pretty easily. And then always a good resource is your DEP local staff to help out with public notification templates and that sort of thing. And then if you want to get into the regulation itself, subchapter D in chapter 109 is where all of the public notification information is. Time for another activity then. In the recording here, if you pause it and then complete the activity on page 5-7 in your associated handout book with this course, with this recording, and when you're ready, push play and we'll come back and go over the answers. Okay, so let's review it here from the compliance activity. So from the last one, you had Rolling Embers Water System incurred an MCL violation in May of 2025. And the results were here. We knew this from our last activity. So what tier of PN is required for this? Hopefully you got that it's tier 2 public notification. The system learned of the violation on June 2nd, so public notification must be issued no later than what date? Well, they have 30 days from when they learned of the violation, so that would be July 2nd. So what are the possible methods of delivery for this notice? Direct delivery, so that'd be email, snail mail, phone dialer with website information is good, but it's the concept of direct delivery to all of your customers. They issued the public notice to their customers by June 7th. Didn't waste any time. In terms of the public notification requirements, what else do they need to do and how long do they have? We were focused on the idea here that the water system has to send a copy of the PN and a completed certification form to DEP within 10 days of when they issued it. So that'd be June 17th. Just a few key points then to wrap up this lesson and the course. For this lesson, PFAS MCL violations require Tier 2 public notification, which must be delivered within 30 days. PFAS monitoring violations require Tier 3 PN, and there are PN templates and instructions are available on the DEP public notification website. Excellent resource for all of this. Thanks for watching.